favorite genre is fantasy, which might change after only reading fantasy books for a week, but we're gonna find out. I'm going to start with reading Kingdom of the Cursed, which is the second book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series, which if you watched my last video, I very recently read and it was a solid 3-star book for me. I don't like not finishing series, so we're gonna read this and hope that it's a little bit better than the first one. If you can see, I've already started it. I'm like 60-ish pages in, I think. So we're gonna start with reading this one and then we will pick out our next fantasy book.
When you listen to my confession, could you become my redemption? When you kneel in that position and you pray for my submission, there's no halo on your head.
So, quick update. I think I'm pretty much exactly halfway through this book right now, and I'm actually liking this quite a bit better than the first book. I will say I don't necessarily think the writing has improved, but the characters are in hell, which for some reason is like one of my favorite tropes when a couple has to go to hell together. So I think it's just a lot more interesting and the stakes are a bit higher. Amelia still annoys me. I still kind of feel like she just doesn't think through her decisions, but I love Wrath and the touch her and I'll kill you vibes that he's given off. He literally just like destroyed a mountain because someone said something bad about her. I'm hoping I can finish this tomorrow. I'm going to my cottage this weekend, so hoping for a lot of time just in the sun reading books.
As you lay across my bed, feeling inside is like a burning fire to light me up and take me higher. I've never been too much of a believer, but I thank God that I finally found you. You're my heaven, you're my scripture, the most beautiful work of fiction. You're my altar, you're my sacrifice. I would die for your sins tonight, for your sins tonight, for your sins tonight. I would die for your sins tonight. Can I be your last temptation? Will your love be my salvation? Returning the constellations and through time reincarnations.
You ready? Good boy. So I just got out of the lake, but I also finished reading Kingdom of the Cursed, and originally I was going to read A Heart of the Raven Prince. I think that's what it's called next, which is a Cinderella fantasy retelling. But this book kind of has me in a chokehold, so instead I bought Kingdom of the Feared on my Kindle. So I'm gonna read this next. I liked Kingdom of the Cursed a lot better than the first book. I still don't love Amelia. She annoys me a little bit, but I do love Wrath, and it ended on a cliffhanger, and I need to finish this series. So I think this is probably like 3.5 to 4 stars for me, whereas the first book was a solid 3-star book. We'll see. I heard that the last one is either people's favorite or the worst thing they've ever read. So we're gonna find out.
Constellations and through time reincarnations, build cathedrals to your grace, paradise in your embrace. Feeling inside is like a burning fire to light me up and take me higher. I've never been too much of a believer, but I thank God that I finally found you. You're my
I am home now and I am showered, and I'm honestly not feeling great, so I apologize if my energy is kind of low, but I'm about 80% into Kingdom of the Feared now. It's has me in a chokehold. I'm probably gonna finish it tonight. I'm really invested in the story now from books 2 and 3, but definitely have to suspend disbelief a little bit. And I also feel like certain things that happen in this book contradict things that happen in the first book, or they make things that happen in the first book like not make that much sense. So I'm thinking back on things and like I want answers to like how this happened, but I don't think I'm gonna get those in the last 20% of this book. But it's definitely been like a fun kind of guilty pleasure series. It reminds me a lot of From Blood and Ash, like the way I felt reading that, where it was like I read it really fast, I enjoyed it, but it's definitely not anything to write home about, and I stopped thinking about it pretty much immediately after I finished it. I think the world building has gotten better because they're in hell in the Seven Circles in the second and the third book, and so there's a lot more detail put into it, which is nice, and so it feels like there's a bit more of those like fantasy elements. Since I wasn't feeling very well this day, I completely forgot to do a wrap up once I finished reading Kingdom of the Feared, but I did in fact finish it on this day and ended up giving it 3 stars. I think it might be closer to 3.5. I really enjoyed the series. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think it's a pretty easy fantasy romance if that's something that you're interested in.
Stumble home at almost dawn, wishing I was the reckless one, and you had the nerve to shrug. You said I'm skipping town a couple months, picked up all your late night calls, took your crumbs, then none at all. Gotta feel disposable.
I started reading Heart of the Raven Prince today, and I think I'm like 20-ish% in. It's a Cinderella retelling with Faye, and it is about our main character whose name I literally cannot remember, even though I just stopped reading. Give me a second. Ember and Prince Fonko? That sounds like a dumb name. Prince Franco. Yeah, that makes more sense. And Ember is half fae, half human, and then Prince Franco is fully fae, and he's like the unseelie king. So there's humans, and then there's seelie, who are like humanoid fae, and then there's unseelies, who are like animalistic fae. Like they give into like their wild side. They're less reserved. They like to stay in their like animal forms. Don't fully understand the politics of this world, but the fairy tale retelling aspect of it is really fun. We've got the evil stepmother, the evil stepsisters. There's a ball. I'm already at the ball, and I assume that she's gonna run into him at the ball, and he's gonna be like,
wow, the one woman that's not throwing herself at my feet.
And they're gonna fall in love. I'm not like super invested in this or anything. I'm enjoying it, but as of right now, which I'm only 20% in, things could change, but I feel like this is gonna be another 3-star, which is kind of sad.
Slide down the door, I second guess if all this tenderness was even real.
So to be completely honest, I was not feeling great this week, and my instinct was to force myself to read this book and push through it because I wanted to read 3 books in this 7-day challenge. But I ended up going out and playing tennis in a random parking lot with my best friend at like 8 p.m. And this was just a reminder to take care of yourself and do things that make you happy and give yourself a little bit of grace. So originally there wasn't supposed to be a day 8 to this video, but I finished Heart of the Raven Prince today, and I just have to talk about my thoughts on this because I went into this not with like the highest hopes, but like with hopes, and it was kind of disappointing. I think I decided on 2.5 stars as my rating for this book, which is kind of depressing because I thought I was gonna like it a lot more than I did. I love the fairy tale aspects. The Cinderella references are really fun in this book, but the romance like did absolutely nothing for me, and that's like the whole point of the book. I don't know, like our main characters know each other for like 2 weeks before they're declaring their love for each other. It's very insta-love. I feel like they don't really have the chance to get to know each other. For those 2 weeks they probably see each other for a total of like less than 24 hours. I just didn't feel any chemistry between them at all. I didn't really care about the relationship, and that's kind of like what you read a romance for. And then they had their like big declaration of love, and it just felt so cringy to me. Everything that happened after that, I literally like skimmed the last 20% of the book because it was cringing me out in like a, not like a fun cute way, in like an icky way. So this book is just not for me. I know so many people love it, so I wouldn't take this as like a reason not to read it. It's just like that, those kind of insta love storylines where it like relies on you just accepting that they're in love without the evidence is kind of hard for me to like believe, I guess. So I like the fairy tale aspects, I like the fae aspects, I like the world of it, but the actual romance I couldn't care less about. So it's kind of disappointing. I've honestly had a bit of a rough reading month or so. Like every book in this video has been very mid and a lot of the books I read before this video have also been kind of mid. So I'm praying for a good book next. So today actually I picked up 2 books. I got Alice Feeney's His and Hers because it's a pocket book and it was on sale for $12.99, which is pretty good. And then I also got Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood, which is her newest book, which was also on sale. And I think I'm gonna read this next because I'm pretty certain I'm gonna like this. I've liked all her other books. I think they're a little bit repetitive, but I love the way she writes banter, and I know that I will read this and love the chemistry between the characters. So I feel like this is just an easy, like, gonna be at least a 4-star book for me, hopefully. I probably just jinxed it. Anyway, that was kind of irrelevant to the fantasy aspect of this video. Overall, reading fantasy for a week was really fun. It's my favorite genre. Definitely burnt out and ready to not read fantasy for a little bit. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!